Mr. Hardy?
Thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. I think Professor Johnson has ably demonstrated that the S-150 cannot pass rational basis scrutiny because it simply arbitrarily discriminates among different things. I will point out in addition that S-150 would mark the most extensive gun ban in the history of this republic. The 1994 ban listed 19 brands of firearms that could not be made. S-150 lists over 150. The 1994 ban banned firearms with a pistol grip that protruded below the rest of the firearm. S-150 simply bans any gun with a pistol grip. And I would point out that virtually the only reason I can't say every is because I haven't examined everyone, but every rifle and shotgun, semi-automatic, made today has a pistol grip. It's not a separate pistol grip, it's just the area that your hand fits around makes it more comfortable to fire. So essentially, this would ban any semi-automatic long arm that has a replaceable magazine. The categories seem to be focused mostly on style, as they say, military style. But the fact of the matter is no one would go to war with a semi-automatic AR-15, the shooting one shot per trigger pull. They go to war with an M16 that fires fully automatic in 3-round burst. The price of the creation of the assault rifle, which is fully automatic, the price for it was that they had to drop the power of the cartridge by 50% because you can't fire a full-powered military round at full automatic without getting the heck beaten out of you by recoil. So in the case of the AR-15, we dropped the power of the military rifle from 2,400 foot-pounds of energy to slightly over 1,200, a 50% decline, which is average for that type of thing. When you go back to semi-automatic, turn it into a semi-automatic, what you have is simply a firearm of half military power. Then if we look at the various banned features, apart from the having of the power, the pistol grip, there's been statements I've heard that the pistol grip is somehow meant to promote unaimed fire from the hip. That only happens in Rambo movies. The military would not be issuing firearms to people that are conducive to being fired from the hip without aiming because essentially you can't hit anything in that mode. And if you stop to think about the angle of the pistol grip, it would actually make it harder to fire from the hip than from the shoulder because the military doesn't want you firing from the hip. The threaded barrel, I cannot see any connection between a threaded barrel and use in criminal conduct. What could it be? If we talk flash suppressors, I can tell you I've personally verified with an AR-15 in a darkened range, there is no flash, even if you take the flash suppressor off. That's mainly for M4s, M16s, where you're firing full automatic, you get the barrel nice and hot, and then you can see a flash. I would agree with Dr. Begg on one issue, which I promised my friend Clayton Kramer to raise. Clayton has written a book on the deinstitutionalization of the mentally ill and essentially what a disaster it has been for this country. He cites studies indicating that about 1,000 homicides a year are committed by people who have been diagnosed mentally ill and gone off their meds. And I would agree with Dr. Begg, therefore, that we have to treat the mentally ill, especially the dangerous ones, get them off the street where they can be treated, and that we're not doing a fraction enough of this at the moment. We can either try to get the violent mentally ill out of commission, or we can try to create a world in which it is safe to have violent mentally ill people on the street. I suggest the latter is simply impossible a task. I think that one of the arbitrary features of S-150 is illustrated by a comparison of two firearms, the AR-15 and the Mini-14. Both shoot the same cartridge, the .223. Both take 20 to 30 round magazines. Both shoot at the same rate of fire, one shot per trigger pull. Both weigh about the same and have about the same length. The AR-15 is classed under the bill as one of the prohibited forms of firearm. The Mini-14 is listed specifically under the sections which exempt it from any possible ban. Yet the two firearms are functionally identical. The only difference is one of them has a wooden stock and the other has a plastic one. I think, as Professor Johnson pointed out, to pass any level of scrutiny, there has to be a relationship between the statute, a provable relationship between the statute and an important social goal. And it must not unnecessarily impact lawful exercises of rights. I think we can see that S-150's categories have no relationship to criminal use, and that they exempt or control firearms of exactly the same type. I would point out one last thing, which is as far as burdening rights, there was only one Adam Lanza. There was only one Sing Hoi Chu. But S-150 attempts to deal with their cases, their violent cases, by regulating the other 300 million Americans' conduct of their exercise of their constitutional rights. S-150's arbitrary standards fail any test for constitutionality, and for that matter, for wise social policy. Thank you.